Hello, everyone. Welcome from an undisclosed location somewhere in North America. This is your weekly and live, truth be told, Minuteman report. So today we are we're going to be talking about, well, everything that I've been dealing with today. We on September 27th, Mercury went into retrograde for the third and final time in 2021. During this period, which ends today, October 18th, you've probably heard people carrying on about how everything is going wrong, right? They hit reply all when they meant to forward, and contracts have fallen apart, and they've hurt their friends' feelings by accidentally wording something wrong. All kinds of things happen, right? And that's because, well, Mercury is in retrograde. Okay? I'm calling it a planetary problem. But what is it? Why are people so afraid of it? And is there anything we can do to avoid it? That's what we're talking about today on the Minuteman Report. We're talking about Mercury retrograde. So first, and I'm going to apologize because I'm reading all this stuff off a little tiny screen right here. You can't really see it, but I can see it. I'm reading it. According to author of Crystal Clear, Reflections on Extraordinary Talismans for Everyday Life, Jaya Saxena, and I'm sorry if I butchered that name, they did an interview with CNN. And they said, from an astronomical perspective, Mercury retrograde is an optical illusion, right? Mercury's orbit around the sun is shorter than the Earth's, which means that when the Earth passes Mercury in orbit, there's this moment when it appears to move backwards, right? So if you're looking at the image on the screen, and I apologize if you're listening to the podcast and you don't see the image, but it kind of makes it look like in our sky that Mercury kind of does this kind of slipstream, kind of backwards loop thing. That has astrological significance, right? Because when Mercury goes into this illusion of going backwards, this retrograde, it means that Mercury, which is the planet that is thought to astrologically represent communications of all kind, when it goes into retrograde, the theory is that communications get thrown out of whack, right? That's why when we're in retrograde, people say, don't sign contracts, don't do any big kind of legal negotiations, be careful about asking for raises or having kind of squabbles at work, and really be diligent during this period to check and double check all of your work. So people fear Mercury retrograde because, right, it affects everything to do with communications. That includes electronics and technology, which we've all come to rely on so heavily for communication. So, so you hear these warnings about, like, don't buy computers during Mercury retrograde. You hear, a really common one, which you see a lot, is people dropping their telephones in toilets. But it's not just electronics and emails and things like that. It also affects our own, our ability to kind of understand and, be in touch with our own feelings and our own motivations. So this is a really, really tough time, for a lot of people. They feel very flustered and misunderstood, and it can really kind of influence negatively a lot of what's going on around us. So basically anything that has to do with communication, right? And that's just about everything in the world, is affected during Mercury retrograde. So here's what we can do about it, right? So some suggest, and again, I'm reading this from my little notebook here. So some suggest working with crystals such as carnelian or blue chalcedony, which are stones believed to support clarity and confidence, or amethyst to help balance emotions. They also say that managing stress during Mercury retrograde is essential to keep tempers low and ward off any additional misunderstandings, right? Because you know how things snowball. We don't want that happening. And getting plenty of rest, taking the time to thoroughly check and recheck written communications, and being prepared for possible issues is also key. Experts also recommend avoiding excess caffeine to help prevent stress-related anxiety and clumsiness. Lord knows I should probably be listening to this one. They suggest drinking herbal teas like mint, chamomile, or lavender, which have soothing properties to help you relax and unwind. And also to take a moment to meditate, to take a moment to think through what it is that you want to say ahead of saying it, right? Think before you just run off the mouth. I need that. But they say that's probably the most healthy Mercury retrograde practice. And additionally, it's important to keep your sense of humor, right? I came in this morning and I was all ready for the show and everything was going great. And then I sat down and I started putting things together and I realized I wore a green shirt. I don't know that that's Mercury retrograde, but it just seems like something that would fall into the Mercury retrograde kind of blame thing. So here I was wearing a green shirt in front of a green screen and I was just a floating head. So we had to deal with last minute wardrobe adjustments here in the studio. Now, this is important, right? Because it's not just, and you know what, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up here on the screen. So just so you can see. So these are some of the things that happen with Mercury retrograde, things that you can look, I don't know, I want to say look forward to, but some of the things to expect. So when it comes to communication, look for miscommunication, data and info incorrect, transactions mistakes, equipment malfunctions, ideas seem irrational, media and news distorted. Well, that shit, we've been in retrograde for a really long time, if that's the fact. Facts and stories are inaccurate, speech and writing misunderstood, contracts lacking pertinent details, and travel expect delays. Okay. But here is the thing that I wanted to say is that yes, today is technically the end of Mercury retrograde, but right, and I didn't know this. I learned this. Thank God for the internet, right? Is that there are pre and post shadow periods, right? So the 2 to 3 weeks prior to and just following Mercury retrograde, you may feel like you're in a slump or a rut in the week's beginning or the weeks leading up to, and then you can still have these kind of milder effects of Mercury retrograde for the 2 to 3 weeks after. I think it's really important that whether you prescribe to astrology or not, that, or is it prescribe or subscribe? If you believe in astrology or not, knowing what to expect when things go on the tilt is always a good idea. So I wanted to share this with you because I found this in the Old Farmer's Almanac. So this year, Mercury went into retrograde 3 times, right? But we can actually expect 4 periods of Mercury retrograde in 2022. So that first period is going to begin in January, from January 14th through February 3rd. Then it'll go into retrograde again from May 10th to June 2nd. The third time will happen September 9th through October 2nd. And then, as a gift, going into the new year, we go into retrograde on December 29th and we don't come out until January 18th, 2023. So that's what you're looking at. So expect 4 periods of retrograde next year. And unfortunately, that last one kind of falls on a time when we're all kind of looking forward to things changing and happening and being new and fresh and wonderful. Anyway, but if you want to be even more prepared, you can visit, I found this great website, astrologyzone.com. They have a list of all of the Mercury retrograde dates all the way through 2030, just in case you need to know. So this has been your weekly Truth Be Told Minuteman Report, and I am your host, Robert Hensley, the Truth Be Told Minuteman. And I want to ask you to please remember to like this video, share it. If you like the content that you're seeing, subscribe, and know that you are going to see fresh content from Truth Be Told every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So Mondays here with me at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern is the Truth Be Told Minuteman Report, short form documentary content. And then Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern, there's Truth Be Told Transformation with Bonnie, oh my God, why did I forget her last? Bonnie Burkert. Sorry, I keep thinking Yogi Bon because that's her Instagram handle, Yogi Bon. But Bonnie is here on Wednesdays delivering Transformation, which is the more kind of spiritual and metaphysical kind of stuff with Truth Be Told. And then every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern is Tony Sweet's Truth Be Told, the original 1-hour chat interview show. which everybody loves. And so those are all of our podcasts, all of our shows. So you can watch us on YouTube, listen on all major podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, Audacity, all those. And then also you can always support the Truth Be Told brand by visiting us online at www.truthbetoldworldwide.com. And you can see what's scheduled for Tony's show. You can read a little bit about Tony and Bonnie and myself, as well as buying official Truth Be Told merchandise. We've just added some really cute merchandise with, it's got a little alien guy wearing some stuff. It's cute. And if you have a story idea or a hot tip, something you'd like for me to cover here quickly on the Minuteman Report, send me an email. Let me know. Would love to hear from you. You can email me at reportminuteman@gmail.com. Again, that's reportminuteman altogether at gmail.com. And again, this has been your Truth Be Told Minuteman Report with me, your Minuteman, Robert Hensley, signing off. Until next time.